All right, on to part 2 of this demo. In part 2, I'm going to select the silos that you see here and adjust their contrast. Previously, I used the quick mask mode and simply brushed over an area to select something, but that's not going to work too well for the silos because they have a very distinct hard-edged contour, and that's not going to be able to grab that accurately. Now, before I start working and before you start working, make sure that you are not in the quick selection mode or quick mask mode again. So I'm going to click that to exit that quick mask mode. What I'm going to get instead is a tool called the quick selection tool, and that's about the 4th tool down on your toolbar. Quick selection tool, I'm going to activate that tool, and let's back out a little bit. It's giving me a very, very small brush. Zoom in within Photoshop here and center this so that you can see the things I'm going to select. I'm going to make that brush a little bit bigger. I don't want to make it too big. That's way too big. I'm going to make it about that big. And that's not going to be too small. Like it's not going to take me forever to get around here, but it's not going to be so big that I'm going to get a lot extra selected. And what I do here is simply click and drag, staying on the inside of the thing I want to select. I don't want to go right up to the edge if I can avoid it. Sometimes I have to get kind of close, but I don't want to go over the edge and end up selecting the sky. I also recommend letting go, doing a little bit, letting go, doing a little bit more, letting go. And that way, if you do end up getting too much, you can simply undo just the last step. You don't have to undo everything. Like, oops, right there, I got too much. So since it was just the last step, I do Command Z and undo that. I've got a little extra down here, which I'll show you how to get rid of in a second. Zoom in a little bit more. I'm doing that with simply Command plus so that I can go in with a smaller brush. I'm making my brush kind of small here and getting a few little nooks and crannies around the top roof and eaves of these silos that didn't get so perfectly selected the first time around. And then I want to show you this area down at the bottom of the right silo where I got too much selected. I don't want this little part selected right here. So to subtract from the selection, if I hold down the Option key, I can do the same kind of thing but in reverse. I'm deselecting an area. Okay, pretty good. Maybe I'll try to get this little area here. If I don't hold down Selection key, it's automatically in the Add to Selection mode, and I'm going to very carefully go along here with a very small brush and hope I don't get too much. Oop, I did. So now I might have to go with Option. So I subtract from and see if I can get rid of just that little area. And pretty good. Good enough for our demo. At this point, I'll zoom back out with Command 0. I might decide to go to the Select and Mask workspace up here. I'm going to click on this very quickly to give you just the simplest little tutorial about this, but we're not going to spend much time. This is covered in another demo. Usually I will shift the edge in a little tiny bit and I will feather it maybe like less than a pixel. There's a ½ pixel of feather. And click OK just to refine that selection just a tiny bit. And I click OK. And now I'm going to save this selection so that I can use it later. And I do that by going to the Select menu down to Save Selection. It gives me the option of naming this. I'm going to name it Silos. And this will be saved as a new channel. That's the operation, new channel. Say OK. So I can bring up that selection again later if I want. Now that I have it selected, I can create a new adjustment layer. And I'm going to create a curves adjustment layer. Click on that Add Adjustment Layer button at the bottom of the Layers palette, choose Curves. I'm adjusting tonal range here, not color, so I'm going to switch my blending mode of this layer from normal to, and I know you can't quite see it at the very, very bottom, but I'm going to change it to luminosity. So it's only affecting the luminosity of this area, not the color. And now I can start adjusting, just like we did with the grass, I can start adjusting this curve, and it's only affecting that area that I have selected. I think I want to create a little bit more contrast, and maybe I want to make that overall contrast darker, lighter. Well, I don't know. Maybe just added contrast. Works pretty well for that. I can close that up, and you'll see that I have this new layer right there. It says curves. 1, it doesn't tell me much about where I did anything or what I did, so I'm going to double click on that and type in silos. More contrast. Hit return, and now my layer is named so that me and my instructor we can both know what we did there. And that's it for part 2. We'll pick this up in the part 3 video.